Atlantis Exodus from Capstone Games. In it, we are kings trying to save all the inhabitants that we are able to before the city itself sinks, and we have 5 years to do this. Well, normally you play against other kings. Well, today I'm going to be the solo king, trying to rescue as many as I can as I do Atlantis Exodus solo style. All right, here we are set up for the solo play of Atlantis Exodus. So we are going to set up for a 2-player game. There is one other thing I will say it's a little bit different setup is normally these are up here on this board, but that's why I have this bar here to simulate what's here. Just know that this is the owl, this is the snake. That will determine on the board as I get into the brief how to play this. The other big change, or 2 big changes with a 2-player setup, is you only have 3 of these monuments in these rows, and you start off with the other 2 kings in the spots with these tokens. All right, so let me go over quickly how you would normally play this game, and then I will go into what is different with the solo play. So we are going to be playing over a term of 5 years. Each year is going to be played over 3 rounds, and throughout those rounds, I will be doing different actions and phases. So the first phase in the first round is I'm going to be placing out my king. That's in a solo mode. In a multiplayer game, the first thing you actually do is you move your token up here to possibly get a bonus from the orders. That doesn't happen in a solo. So first thing you do is you're going to place out your king on one of these middle rows. You're then going to take the inhabitants, the villagers, I'm going to call them other meeples, I'm just going to call them the people. You're going to grab them and you're going to place them into the training area board that matches their color. So you have your purples, your whites, and your browns, your scientists, intellectuals, workers. And then if there's any other icon for a token, you are going to take that. In subsequent rounds, you are going to move from that space. In the second round, you are going to move to one of the middle spaces that's available. You cannot move where these blocker kings are. So I could, if I was in here, I could move to this space or this place or this space or this space because you cannot go through these walls. Then in the second or in the third round, you're going to do the same thing, going into either these spaces or these spaces. When you're here, you are again going to do what's depicted there. I'll go over each one as it in a minute. And then if there's any guards next to you, which are these little meeples here, you're going to grab them, point them on your board. That is optional. After you place your king or move them, depending on which round you are in, you are then going to carry out 2 actions, possibly more based on a couple other things. But you have 2 actions. You can repeat them. The first thing you can do is you can move around this apotheosis track. As you're moving around, there are certain spots that have symbols. You'll do what is depicted in that symbol. Actually, let me get this deck up here. This relates to possibly grabbing these books or drawing one of these cards, etc. They all have different icons. A lot of them are similar to here. You can train a settler. So when you have a settler on your board, you can train them. You're going to see on this board how you have these little down arrows. So they're going to start off as other scientists, intellectuals, and workers. And then you're going to be spending these tomes of knowledge, books, however you want to call them, to move down to the next level. So an instance, a scientist can go either a physicist, a mathematician, or a chemist, depending on what books you spend. Once you've moved them down, you can later then train them again, moving down that arrow. So a physicist can become an astronomer, but not an engineer, not an inventor, going down that way. The workers, you will notice there is the one change that they labor can become either a farmer or a craftsman. And the intellectuals, once you're a counselor, you are done. So that is training a settler. You can send a settler away. You can send them away to a couple different areas. If you send them away and you don't have a residence on your board yet, you can grab a residence from here, placing it on any spot on your board that doesn't have the rounded corners, getting the depicted icon, and then you'd put your settler on there. The other one is if you end up having a ship out here, you can send a settler to the ship. When you send a settler away, you're going to notice these little compasses with these little icons next to it. You are going to get that bonus when you send that settler away. So for instance, if you send away just a basic intellectual, you're going to move up 1 on the apotheosis track. That's what this little flame is. The next action you can do is you can do a knowledge card. So these knowledge cards have certain things depicted on them. And when you get these from the apotheosis track, you're going to have it face up on your board. And then when you use it, you're going to simply turn it face down. If you have not used this by the end of the game, it is going to give you a point. This was the influence card. I jumped ahead. I was wondering why I had the knowledge card. So that's the influence card is doing that. The knowledge card are these cards up here. In order to do a knowledge card, you need to have the depicted workers on your board. So in this instance, this one wants a physicist and a chemist. As long as you have workers on both of those spots for an action, you can do the knowledge card, which means you are going to take this card, you're going to set it off to the side for endgame scoring, and you are then going to send those two settlers, those two people away, either to a boat or to a residence, and of course, getting their send away bonus. So those are the 5 actions you are able to take. You might be able to do more than 2 actions by getting favor tokens. You can spend a favor token to do any of those actions in addition to the normal 2. Those favor tokens come down here. Initially, you can have 1. Once you get 3 buildings down here, you can get a second, 6, a third, and 9, a fourth. So that is, and then possibly by getting these pillars of remembrance, which I'll get into now as I get into the different spaces of the board. So most of them, so these ones are all just grab the people and grab a book. This one that shows the bag and the little question mark is I would then grab the bag and I would grab 2 randomly from the bag, taking those. There's a coin and books. Next one up, you see these books here. You also have these workshop tiles. When you grab a workshop tile, you are going to place it on your board, again, anywhere where there is not the rounded corners, getting the bonus underneath. Now, once you are able to put a worker here, which will be the worker depicted on the symbol, so in this instance, it wants a farmer. If you have a farmer readily available, you can send it right to the tile right away. If you do not have one, you are able to send it later with the whole send a settler away option. But once there is a worker here, you unlock the bonus. In this instance, whenever you take a white worker from Atlantis, you are going to get a white book. So again, that is putting those on there. These are Agora tiles. These are the ones that will go here in the rounded corners, and you are just going to do what's depicted on here. In this instance, grab a book of each one and grab books there. There will be different ones that come out. I will cover those as they do. You have the ships. When you get a ship, you're simply going to put it on here, gaining a point, and then putting settlers on there. Your pillar of remembrance. So you have the snake here and you have the owl here. When you go to one of these, you are going to grab one from the designated row. So again, owl, snake. You have to start at the bottom, and in order to build up, you need to have a completed row or a completed area. So if I take one, I can simply take it and put it next to my board. I will get an instant effect, and then this gives me an ability that I can trigger some point or on my turn as one of the extra effects. I cannot trigger that with a favor tile though, and I can only do it once per round. Then once I have one here, I can build the next level up. Again, getting the instant bonus. However, this does not unlock until I get the designated worker here, which is a scholar. So again, once I put this card out, if I already have a scholar, I can send them there. Otherwise, I would have to do it with my send a settler away action if I get one later. Because I cannot put this third layer on top of here until I get a worker in that spot. Now, the 1 action per pillar is either level. So on a round, I can either activate this bottom one or this top one, again, if it's completed by having the worker there. However, if I have 2 pillars going, I can do this action during the round and this action during the round as they are different pillars. Before I get into end round, I will say with this apotheosis track, when I get to this space and this space, I can take one of these monuments, placing them where there is not the rounded corners, and then these are going to be endgame scoring. Alrighty, so at the end of the round is when the main variants come in with the solo play. So typically what happens is at the end of a year for the preparation for the next year, you would fill in any empty spots, including guards. You would wipe off all these tiles. They would come to the board as a display where you'd be able to grab them based on certain cards or actions that allow you to grab these tiles. Mainly it comes down to with the send away bonuses. I didn't go over all those. I'll go over those if they happen. However, in a solo play, you do not ever fill in the guards. That's omitted. You'll just basically be filling in the center circle, the ones that you take from there. You are not going to be clearing away and refilling the agoras, workshops, and ships, except for the second and fourth year. So that is the big changes, is that the tiles will basically replenish at the end of this year 2 and year 4, and the guards never replenish. But that would happen normally every year in a regular game. And then basically based on where you'd put your order tokens is how you would be going first. So after years 2, 4, and 5, there are also markers known, or I should get into first. When you move, you are going to flip over one of these tiles. The tile is going to have a number on it, and that is how much these center spaces are going to rotate. We're going to rotate the outer and then the inner, and then those numbers are also going to dictate how far these markers move themselves. After years 2, 4, and 5, we are going to be scoring our different regions. Again, that is going to be different in a solo mode as opposed to a 2+ player. In a 2+ player, you're going to look at the one that's scoring. So round 2 is going to score the top one, round 4 is 2, and round 5 is 3. You're going to see who has the most of each color worker. In that instance, whoever has the most would get 5, etc. That is all covered on your little card here. In a 2-player game, just the first person would get 5, second player gets nothing. In a 3-player game, there's a second and a third in a 3-player one. And you do that for each color. In a solo mode, however, what you are going to do is if you have one settler, if you only have settlers of 1 or 2 kinds, it's a victory point for each settler. If it's all 3, then whichever one I have the fewest of, I get that number times 3, and then the other ones, I simply get a point each. Which we'll get into all that when we get into the scoring of those settlements. Then, at the end of the 5th round, after we score for our row 3, there is just a little bit more final scoring. You're going to get -3 points for any settlers in the training area. You're going to score 2 points for each completed row, 1 point for each completed column. Your workshops are going to give you points. If you had any knowledge, you'll get points from there. And then if you have any face up of these influence cards, those are each going to be a point. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into this. So looking at what I want, so there's a lot of purple around there, not a lot of purple in here. I kind of want to grab this brown worker, seeing as he's that, and that's the only one out here. And it wouldn't be a bad idea to get the workers in here so I can start maybe getting these workshops and triggering them. And I need to get those there with the brown books. So I think we're going to start off by placing my worker right here. That brings these 2 here and gets me a brown book. I now do my 2 actions. So knowing I'm coming up to the farmer, I don't have enough books in order to get him to a farmer. I would have needed 1 extra brown book, which is not available. And this is where being able to get these would have helped, because I could have possibly planned it out to be able to get him to a farmer by the time I took that tile. But I figure that's probably going to be maybe something I do next round. We are instead going to, I think, first bring him up. So going from a worker, we're going to spend 1 to make him a day laborer. Looking at my intellectual, I don't want to move him yet because I know I need the white book for my farmer. And I'm pretty sure I'm about to go right to this spot here, but I might be able to go up and grab that agora and get a white book anyways. I know I'm going to get plenty of brown books. So maybe if I go, I'm going to spend 1 of each. Now I think that's going to be too big to try and go counselor yet. Let's go ahead and make them a scholar so I'm set up for if I grab a pillar. I can send my scholar right to there. So that's my 2 actions. Now I get to move. So again, from here I can go to this spot or this spot or this spot or this spot. I am going to just go right here because I want those 3 brown books to be able to upgrade my workers. I am going to grab the white guard right here so he is ready to go. And I now have my 2 actions. I don't want to send anyone away. I do not have the white book I need to make him a farmer yet, so we're going to hold off on that. I don't have any scientists to train. I'm not going to send a settler away. I cannot do a knowledge card. So I think for my 2, I am just going to move twice on the Apotheosis track, which gets me a book. We are going to grab a white book because I am getting very heavy to needing those. My next movement, we are going to move here and grab this Agora tile, and we're going to grab the Scientist. And this one also gives me a favor token that will go right there. We'll put the Agora right there, which moves me on the Apotheosis track. The other thing I did not mention with the residences and the solo mode is when we go to scoring, I need to have a residence in the area that I am scoring. If I do not, I immediately lose the game. So I need to make sure I get a residence on each level. So that was my movement. Now it's up to my actions. So I now have enough to be able to take my farmer or my day laborer and make him I need a coin, which I have, to make them a farmer. I am going to need to get more coins here soon. So that was one action. Looking up here. Oh, the other thing with these reset is right one is going to go away and they're going to move down. So a chemist and a physicist. So I can make this one a chemist. So I could possibly set myself up to get that one right there. And that was my 2. I trained and I trained. So we are at the end of the year. So for the preparation of the year, this moves. We flip this over. So you're going to see these have these gears. That's what you're going to need to line up. So we move this one. We move this inner one. And then he moves one and he moves one. And that is it for there. So we've moved that. We would normally refill and do all that. We are going to refill the center row, but we are not going to refill anything else. We then flip over new cards here, just covering the old ones. This one gets discarded. These slide down, and this one gets flipped up. And that is that. So, and then I return my king up to here. So the things I want to make sure I get done is I need to make sure I get a scientist and get them to a physicist so I can get that card and send them away to a residence on my level. The other thing I not mention is when you have boats and have settlers on there, they count for all 3 levels. So like I said, I know I need to get a settler and move them up. And then I was kind of there so I can try and maneuver him to, let's see, that one's already taken. You have this one, which is when I get a white worker. There's plenty of them there. I get a white book. So that wouldn't be a bad idea. And I get my purple worker. But in order to move them there, I need a white book, which I'd get from there. And then I need a purple book. Is there anywhere to get a purple book? If I go here, I can come around here and get that. So I think that's what we're going to do. We are going to come right here, which gets us these 2. Gets us a white book. Put our white worker there. Put our purple worker there. I know I need the white book for that, so I'm not going to mess with that. We have our little people up there. Our next step is going to be going there, which will get me that one. So I cannot train them yet. So I think what we are going to do is I think we're going to use both of our actions for the Apotheosis track, which gives us a influence card. We would use this in order to get a workshop. When you get a workshop from here, from setting a settler away, you have 2 options. One is when this board clears, they come out here as a face-up display. If there's none there you want, or there is none, you are instead going to draw 2 from the top of the pile, choose one to keep, and then putting the other one in the discard availability thing. So we have this card for right now. So that was my 2 actions. Moving to my next one, we are going to come up here. We are going to put this one. I said I needed a purple book. I can actually place this right there to gain my purple book that I'm going to need. And then because I have the worker, I can send them away right away. That is going to give me 5 points and move me 1 on the Apotheosis track. So now when I get a white worker from here, I'm going to get a white book. So that was my movement, and we are going to take the guard. So now for my 2 actions, we are going to spend our 2 books to train them to be a physicist. And then our second one is we are going to do a knowledge card. So we are going to do the crane. And this is going to give me 1 point for every pair of brown workers anywhere on my board, on ships, or in my rows. I'm going to send them away, which gives me 4 points. 1, 2, 3, 4. And because there is nowhere, I'm going to grab a residence. I'm going to grab this 3 residence so I can get going and fill this one up, because the 5s are going to be kind of hard to fill because you cannot start a new one until you have filled a previous one. Books are getting a little hard to come by. I know I'm going to need this, so let's go ahead and grab me a brown book. Put my 2 workers there. That gets me a brown book. So that was my 2 actions, was training and then doing a knowledge card. So for my final movement, I can come here and grab a book of each one. I have 3 tiles, so I can get 1 favor tile, but I don't really want to do that. I can't go here because he's there. Or I can come over here and grab this workshop. I don't have my craftsman yet, but it might be something worthwhile to work on getting, because I can always put it down here to get a coin that I know I'm going to need in order to train that worker. And those are really my only options. Coming up here, we get me a book. We're going to come around here, and it's going to get me a book of my choice. We are going to put this right there to give me a coin. A book of my choice. I know I'm going to need more brown ones. So let's go ahead and grab a brown book. Like so. And now I can do my 2 actions. So I think the first thing we're going to do is we're going to send away an intellectual, which is going to move us 1 on the apotheosis track. The reason I'm doing that is that fills this residence, so the next time I send people away, I can get a residence going down in my next row. And 2 is now I have 1 of each color in here, which means I'm going to be scoring 3 points for a single one, then 4, 5, and 6. Otherwise, I'll only be getting 3, so it doubles the amount of points I can get from here. It also moves me on the apotheosis track, which means for my second one, I'm actually going to just move on the apotheosis track and get an extra book. So I'm doing pretty good with my brown books. I want to maybe grab a purple, so I'm good to go here. And there is that. All right, so we are at the end of the second year. So we are now going to be scoring for that round. So as I said, we are only going to be scoring. We do have a residence, so we are still able to play. We have 1 of each color. Our least amount is 1. So this would be 3, 4, 5, 6 points. We then do the rest of the course of a year, except in this instance, we do have, when you do a residence, you immediately fill it back up. Except in this instance now, we are going to clear out these tiles. So all of these extra tiles come over here and are able to be grabbed in a future turn, either by sending someone away, or if I use this card, I'd be able to grab this building tile. So all those are cleared away. We then refill them from the supply. There's those. We grab a couple of Agora tiles. All right, so these are the different Agora tiles. So what's going to happen with these ones is when you get this, you are going to randomly draw a meeple from the bag, and then you're going to automatically upgrade them into what is depicted on the tile. And I believe it's 3 workshops. We go 1, we go 2, we go 3. I believe I jumped the gun because first thing we're supposed to do is reveal this tile. So now this outside one moves 1, 2, and the inside one moves 1. And then I always forget who moves where. And the king on the middle ring moves as shown for the inner ring. So this one moves 1, and he moves 2. I keep forgetting to take mine back. So we did that. We got to refill the 2 in the middle. This card gets discarded. This slides down. We refill these 2 spots here. And then we put one more on top of each of these pillar spots. All right, just double checking the rule book. I realized I made a mistake earlier, and I'll make a notation of it down at the bottom when I did it. You actually only refill these the same time you refill the tiles. So I did mess up on that the first time by putting out new ones. So there should always be, so basically we won't refill all this again until 4. Even the inner rings, we just never do the guards. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into round 3. All right, so I think we're going to start by placing my worker here. Or my king. So that gets me a worker and gets me an intellectual. Because I took an intellectual, that gets me a white book, and the spot gives me a white book. So that is 2 white books that I got. My next plan is going to be going here, which is going to, I need to have a purple and a brown to be able to send there, which I do. So I'm going to leave them as is. Oh, my intellectual fell down. I do eventually want to maybe start thinking about maybe getting another one of these up here, especially maybe this one, which would be a physicist and an inventor. So I'll need to try and maybe focus on getting some purple books while I'm going, which I know I'm going that way and then maybe there. So we'll see. So for my first action, I think we are going to use my influence card to randomly grab a couple of workshops. So we've grabbed 2, we look at them, we determine if we want which one we want to grab. I think we are going to go ahead and grab this farmer one. And we are going to put this down here to randomly grab 2 workers out of the bag. And I do not have a farmer, so I am not able to automatically send anyone there. Well, I got a couple of workers. So for my next action, let's go ahead and train one of them into being a day labor, because I can maybe get them down to farmer and send them down here. So then my next one is I move up here. We're going to grab this workshop. And let's go ahead and use this one. I think I might start working my way down here to get some purple books right there. Gives me 2 purple books, 1 and 2. We are going to send our 2 workers here. And that's one of each of those, which gives me 2 points. And now whenever I take a workshop from Atlantis, I will get a gold coin, which I'm hoping to grab at least one more throughout the game, if not a couple, so that will be worth it. Plus it gives me some people out there. So now time for my 2 actions. So let's go ahead and use these to train up my day laborer into, I just realized I could have went to this one instead, but no, we're going to go farmer. And then for the last one, my second action, let's go ahead and send them away, which gives me 5 points, an apotheosis track movement, like so. Now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which means I am able to grab 2 more favor tokens. I might want to think about doing that. I also may think about wanting to do some of these, but we'll see. It's kind of been out of my mind as I've been focusing on other stuff. All right, so that was my 2 actions. So now I know I was originally saying I was going to go for those coins, but now I can get coins for a workshop. I could come over and grab this Agora and immediately possibly have someone upgraded to where the math isn't where I need it to be, though, because I need an inventor and a physicist. And that would be the day labor. I think we are just going to come up and grab these 3 coins, and then I can grab the brown worker right there. 3 coins. And now for my 2 actions. I am light on brown books, so I can't train my workers. I'm a little light on the white books as well. So I kind of think I want to just send a couple people away so I can get a residence going here, seeing as I have the 5s. So yeah, I think for my 2 actions, we are just going to send one of each of these away. And let's grab this one and go right here so we can really move on the apotheosis track. So that's going to be 3 from here, 4 from here, and a pointer. 3 and 1, so 4 total. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's going to give me a coin and another favor token, which I'm going to want to start using these. Otherwise, I'm going to be not able to grab them. So that is the end of the year. So we bring my person back. We move on to here. So we have a 2 and 2. So we go 1, 2, 1 and 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And as I said, I don't refill any of those, but it didn't say anything about not doing the cards. So let me get these cards filled up and changed out. Forgot to refill my residence. Yay, a 3. So by the end of this one, I have a residence, so we're still fine with that, but I do want to get it filled up so I can work on that last one. Moved everyone, did all that, did my cards. Alrighty. So now where do I want to put myself and what do I want to get? We're going to start off going right here. Grabbing these 2 intellectuals. Now because I grabbed 2 intellectuals, I get 2 of the white books and 2 of the brown books. So that was very beneficial. There's all that, and then I got a purple book for going there. Now from here, I know I'm going to want to come up and grab this Agora tile right there. So I know what my next step is, so I want to maybe start working some people down here so I can do some cool, fun stuff. So I have some coins, I have some books, I have some people I might eventually want to send away. Because I'm kind of looking at maybe trying to get down here. That moves me far in the apotheosis. This gives me a ship that could possibly help if I get down to the counselor. I can do the craftsman. That's going to help me get some more brown books in the future if I start grabbing some purple, although I'm nearing the end. So that's not as big of a deal. Or I can come to the builder where I can start getting more building tiles. Although doing that will not trigger the one that gives me a coin because it did not come from Atlantis itself. I should instead focus on trying to maybe like purple. I'm going to get that. I'm going to grab them. So that might be able to allow me to grab another one of those to send some people away. Well, let's work on instead working our person down there to a priest. And I have one of each book. Well, let's see. So where do I need to go? I said I need a physicist. So that needs those. And then if I go and try and do the inventor, that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and a coin. So there is the possibility of all of that. So I've done my one movement, or I've done my one action. Let's go ahead and just move 1 on the apotheosis track. Now we'll see if this is going to hinder me. We're going to move up here. We're going to grab 1 random one out, and we got our purple scientist. This is going to go on the apotheosis track, or move me on the apotheosis track. Let me do this first, and then I'm going to do the apotheosis. Come on, purple. Nope, it's white. So they go on the oracle. Well, that is actually really helpful because that's going to really move me, and that saved a lot of upgrading. So, but that moves me on the apotheosis, which means I get to grab one of these. So these all have varying things. So this is going to be 2 points per workshop in my board. This is 2 points per blue card and yellow tile. I do not have any of those. I have a bunch of red. I have a couple of blue, but we're going to grab this workshop tile because I have a few workshops. This gets to go on my board. Let's go ahead and throw this one right here to grab a couple of the white books. So that was just grabbing 1. So let's go ahead and for 2 actions, we are going to upgrade this one all the way up to an inventor. So that's 2 actions. I'm going to spend a favor tile to send my oracle away. That is going to give me 1, 2, 3 points, and it's going to move me 7 spaces here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that gets me my favorite tile back and gets me another influence card. The influence card is grab people until my residence is full. So I could do that right now, and then that will top that one off. You know what? Let's go ahead. I'm going to spend my favorite tile to play that influence. So I'm going to grab out 2 workers. I'm going to hope for a purple one. I did get a purple one. So that residence is now full, so I'll need to get a residence down here in the next round, and then we are all hunky-dory, and there is a 3-1 out here, so that is helpful. So that was all my actions. I now move again. So I could come up and grab the Agora tile again if I wanted to, and that would get my last Agora one. It'd get me a favor token. It'd move me on the Apotheosis, which would give me a point. I'm good with coins. Or I could come up here and grab a Pillar of Remembrance, which would give me an immediate person or a book or a coin. And a book, I think we're going to come up here. We're going to grab our first, it's this one. We are going to grab one from the bag, hoping for a purple. Yay, finally a purple. Purple. So now once per turn, I can turn a book into a point or a Apotheosis movement. And I also get a book of my choice. Let's go ahead and grab a brown book. So for my first action, we are going to spend these to move him to a physicist. We are then going to do the papyrus, which needs a physicist and an inventor. So I don't think I'm going to really get many more of these. So let's go ahead and just stick those there. So that is going to give me 7 points total. These need to go somewhere. So we are going to grab a... So looking ahead, red. I have quite a few reds, so let's grab this red here. And then this is going to go down here, which gets me 2 brown books. And they come down here into this residence. So that was my 2 as I trained, and I did the knowledge card. And I think I'm good for now. I don't think I want to turn any of these in. Looking ahead, I might be able to get, you know what we are. We're going to turn one in for a movement on here, which will give me a point. All right, so we get mine back. We move into, wait, nope, we score 4. Almost forgot about the scoring. So looking here, I do have one of each color. So we get 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 points. 8 puts us up to 42. Now we are going to do some other fun stuff. So that is there. So did the scoring. I have the residence. We're all good. Now we move this along. So this moves 1, 1, and 2. And then 1, 2, and 1. And now we get to reset all this again. The times we play this, for some reason, I never focus on the boats. Couple of Agoras. Agora. And 3 workshops. 1, 2, 3. All right, so I know I can't get those 2 tiles. So that Agora would give me 2 coins. So right now, what I'm going to be focusing on is trying to get all these somewhere and then send them away so they are not negative points. That is technically going to be my focus and so forth. Oh, and now we get to refill the center row. So 1 and 2. 1 and 2. All right, so now figure out where I want to head up to. I'm feeling like I want to come for this one because it'll let me send away a couple of people. Let's see if I just focus on that one. And then I can maybe get them to be a craftsman to be able to send him away there. So yeah, we're going to go right here. And a purple book. And then because I took a white worker, I get a brown book and a white book. Brown book, white book. The brown worker gives me nothing, but they can go there. Intellectual can go there. I don't have 3 white books just yet. I'm working on it. So I think my next move, I'm actually going to come get these white books. So that opens me up to where I can spend 1 of each book and a coin to put him to a builder, and then let's send him away so he goes to this residence, like so. And that is going to give me 2 points and allow me to grab a building. We are just going to grab 2 from the top. So cool and cool. None of them really matter, but we are going to instead put it right here. Actually, let's go right here, which lets me grab 2 books of different types. So we will grab our white back and we will grab our purple back. And there's that. So now we're going to move. We're going to move up to here and get 3 white books. 1. Oh my goodness, I just caused madness in my village area. Go right there, and right there. We're going to grab our 3 white books, like so. And then for our 2 actions, 1, 2, 3, and a coin, which will allow me to upgrade him. And then we're going to send them away. 1, 2, 3 goes on this residence, moves me 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, which gives me another one of these cards and gives me a book of my choice. Let's go ahead and grab, doesn't fully matter, but we're going to, I think, grab a purple one. Now I want to use my favor token, so I know I'm going to move over here, which will send 2 of those away. I have 3 left, so I'm going to need to use that at some point. But we're going to use that, I think, to train somebody. We are going to use it, I'm thinking, to train my builders, so when I send them away, I can get another building. Yeah, it seems like a good plan. 1 of each, right to there. Bam, bam, and bam. We'll upgrade them. Done. So now for our last one, we come around here. I am not going to grab that one. I do grab one from the bag randomly, which is a purple. So this we're going to put right here to get me that favor token. Where's that? There's the favor token. We are going to send my builder and my scholar. So that is going to be 3 points total. 1, 2, 3. It's going to move me 1 on the apotheosis. I'll take care of that here in a minute. And then I get to grab a building. Let's grab 2 from here. Doesn't matter. So we're going to go right there for a white book. And then this is going to give me one of these. We're going to grab this one that wants red. That's going to go here. Let me grab a random one from the bag. Gives me a worker. Alrighty, so that is that. So that was just me moving here and triggering a bunch of stuff. Now I have my 2 actions, plus I'll use that for a 3rd action, and I'll probably end up using that to send a book away. So looking at this as for my best options. All right, so I think my best, I don't have a coin. But I know I didn't grab my coin from grabbing that last one there. So we're going to grab that coin. Because I think what we're going to do is we are going to upgrade him to a counselor. I am then going to send him away, which fills up my residence. Moves me 2 on here, which gives me 2 points and lets me take a boat. So we'll put a boat here, which gives me, oh, not there, 1 point. So that was my 2. I'm going to use this for my third one to send another person away. I have nowhere for another residence, but I can send them to my boat right here. So right now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 white ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we are going to send this worker away, which is going to give me a point. I'm going to do my Pillar of Remembrance to send a book, to turn a book in for a point. And that was all of that action. So I have no more actions. So I have these 3 left. So I will be getting some negative points, but that's fine. It all came from my random draws I end up having to take. Alrighty, so we are going to move into the final scoring for this round. So we have 3 brown, 2, and 3. So we have 3 times 2 is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 points for that. Puts me at 67. So that's the settlement scoring. We now go into final scoring. So I have -9 for all of those. Puts me at 58. I have 2 4 points. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then 1, 2, 3, 4 of these at a point. So that's 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. My monument tile. So this gives me 2 points for every red one. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Looking for my other one. 2 points per workshop tile. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that is another 14 points. Oh, it's too late. I just realized I could have used this. That's the send away. I could have sent 2 more away, -6 points. It is what it is. I forgot about that. I got all wrapped up in other things. So I'm going to get 2 points or points for each of these. So this is a point per pair of browns. 1, 2, 3 points. 1, 2, 3 points. This is 1 point per pair of brown and white. I recounted, that's going to be 7. So that gives me that. And then I get a point for that faced up. Done. So now had I actually sent that away, I would have been that would have counteracted that. So I would have been 6 points further. So I've been at 111. So it was a 6-point swing that way. But so that is my final score is 105. We look at here. We are at Priest, 2 away from being at the top of an Atlas, which you would have had been over 120. So if I would have got to 111, I would have been King. We'll see. Kings don't forget to send their people away like I did. So that is the play of Atlas Exodus solo mode. I may have messed some stuff up. If I noticed it, I'll leave a little scroll thing at the bottom. Like I said, I know I refilled that extra round that I shouldn't have. I did correct that in the last part of the game, and there will be a notation there. Otherwise, this does give you an idea of basically how the game plays, etc. Alrighty, so hope you enjoyed. Hope you'll go ahead and like, subscribe, comment, share, and ring the bell down below. That would all be appreciated. Also, if you're looking for games, don't forget to check our link to Miniature Market down below where you can go ahead and purchase, and then we get a portion of that. In addition to that, there is a join button down below where you can join the channel to help support us and keep bringing these videos to you. And you will actually be able to see any videos we publish early by being a member. Alrighty, so get those people to safety.